Yorgos Lanthimos is back with his newest film, Bugonia, but am I going to recommend it? I'll let you know right now. Hello everybody, I'm Dan Murrell here with my review of Bugonia, which was in very limited release last weekend, but is expanding into much wider release this weekend. Happy Halloween, by the way, to everybody who celebrates. This is, as I mentioned in the cold open, the latest film from director Yorgos Lanthimos, who's somehow able to be both prolific and make each of his films feel completely distinct from each other. The screenplay is from Will Tracy, a multiple Emmy winner for Succession, who also co-wrote The Menu, and this movie is based on the 2003 South Korean film Save the Green Planet from writer-director Jang Joon-hwan. Emma Stone plays Michelle Fuller, the CEO of a pharmaceutical company that also seems to do just about everything else. Fuller is navigating the company past a PR crisis when she's kidnapped by Teddy Gatz, played by Jesse Plemons, who believes that he has discovered a secret plan to destroy humanity that is being carried out by aliens called Andromedans. Gatz believes that Michelle is one of the aliens, so he kidnaps her and keeps her locked in his basement until she agrees to set up a meeting with the alien emperor to negotiate a truce and save humanity. The first thing he does is to shave her head to prevent unauthorized communication with the mothership using her hair antenna, naturally.
Why have you shaved off my hair?
To prevent you from contacting your ship.
The stakes of this movie, the premise, really everything, is all set up in about the first 10 minutes of the film. And what the bulk of this movie is a battle of the wills and a battle of the wits between these two people that are in intractable positions. I mean, Teddy is unwavering in his belief that Michelle is an alien. He would call it his knowledge that she's an alien, and that he has to uncover this plan to kill humanity. And Michelle is unwavering in her belief, because she knows herself, that she is not an alien, and that Teddy is somebody who's in need of some serious mental health care, which, by the way, her company could provide as long as he just, let her go. When your movie's about two characters sizing each other up and testing each other, it's great to have Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons on hand to play your leads, because they are both in top form in Bugonia. Both of these performances are near the top of my favorites so far this year.
Can we talk, please? Or are you just going to keep doing...
We don't need to talk.
Yes, okay.
Because I know exactly what you're going to say.
And while Teddy and Michelle, Plemons and Stone, dominate the film, there are also some other characters that are of consequence. The most major one is Teddy's cousin, Don, who's played by Aidan Delbus. Don is an accomplice to Michelle's kidnapping, but also shows signs of wavering, mostly because he's being exploited by the only person he has left in his life. Both Delbus and his character are on the autism spectrum, and Delbus gives what I thought was a really strong, genuine performance. I think this is a great example of authenticity in casting. Now, I've talked about this on the channel before, but when I'm watching a film, especially one that I'm enjoying, I try to stay locked in as much as I can. I don't want to let my mind drift from what's happening on screen, but from time to time, about midway through a movie, I will find myself thinking about, oh, wow, I wonder how this movie's going to end. I'm not really sure where this is going. However, this is the first time I think that I've seen a film and I've been halfway through the film and I am completely unsure of what genre this movie is going to be by the end of it. Because at points in Bugonia, it seems equally credible that this could be a psychological thriller, that it could be a black comedy, that it could be a science fiction film, that it could be a tragedy. And one of the great things about this movie is that every time I had decided what was happening or what kind of movie this was based on, the context clues and what I've been seeing the characters do on screen, the movie would then give me a reason to doubt that and say, well, wait a minute. Well, maybe that's not what's happening. And you go back and forth throughout the entire film. I know that the acting is going to get probably the bulk of the spotlight in this movie, and for good reasons. I think it is a very, very well-acted film. But Will Tracy's script is also masterful in keeping you guessing while also baiting you to a conclusion that may or may not be the right one. This movie takes some big swings, and it's not going to be for everybody, but by the end, I was on board. Emma Stone is a double Oscar winner, so it's no surprise that she's as good as she is in the movie. There are always two layers to Michelle. There's what she's saying and what she's thinking, and you can see both of those things happening at the same time. And I think it goes even deeper than that, because there's what she's saying, there's what she's thinking, but the way that she portrays her inner monologue, it also keeps us, the audience, trying to guess why she's thinking what she's thinking. Or is she thinking what we think that she's thinking? The more you dig deep into this performance, I think the more subtle and impressive it gets. And even before we get to the kidnapping part of the film, there's a great scene early on where Emma Stone is talking to her assistant, and she's trying to communicate to her this new corporate policy about leaving work at 5:30 every day, because the company doesn't want the employees to be overworked. As I mentioned, they're kind of trying to navigate through this crisis. But in that conversation, she's telling her assistant to make sure that everybody knows that they can leave at 5:30, but also trying to get her to communicate that you shouldn't leave at 5:30 though if you have work to do, but you should feel free to leave at 5:30. But also remember, this is a company, and just the way that she's going back and forth by trying to be, on the surface, this very kind of congenial, turn the page CEO, but at the same time, subtly enforce the message that she wants to get across. Again, it's not a scene that's maybe critical to the overall plot of the movie, but it's everything that she does through the rest of the film, and it's really, really great work.
Just remembering, we are running a business here, so let your conscience guide you kind of thing. Yeah? Good?
Speaking of great work, Jesse Plemons has been doing great work for years now in movies as diverse as Game Night and The Power of the Dog. I've been a fan of his since Friday Night Lights, but I think this may be his best performance ever. Because it comes down to this question of, is Teddy willing to go to extremes because he's absolutely insane, or because he's somehow right? Jesse Plemons keeps that ball in the air for the entire movie. And I think that each of his interactions with Emma Stone in this film is pitch perfect.
That's the hyper-normalized dialectic by which you've convinced 7.5 billion people that they're not your captives.
Not only do I think that unless there are 5 other great performances that somehow are better than this one, that he should be nominated for the Oscar this year, depending on what these other performances are, I think it's very likely that I could be advocating for him to win. Now, there's a lot of movies that have yet to come out, but he is very, very good in this film. The beauty and the complication of Bugonia isn't just in the writing and in the performances. It's also an incredibly technically well-made movie. The cinematography is from Robbie Ryan. He re-teams with Yorgos Lanthimos. They've worked together several times now, but the movie's not just a replication of their work together on movies like The Favorite and Poor Things. There is a certain kind of grandiosity given to this movie's ordinary surroundings, because if Teddy is to be believed, there are events of planetary consequence that are occurring in this rundown house. And the cinematography makes something as simple as a bike ride feel like it has galactic importance. And this is all underscored literally by the music from Jerskin Fendrix, who teamed up with Yorgos Lanthimos, starting with Poor Things. That was a great movie score. This score is completely different, but I think just as great as the work done in Poor Things. If you were just to listen to the music from this movie, it sounds like it could have been written for a 1950s sword and sandals, Warner Brothers Technicolor VistaVision epic. And yet it's all going under, as I said, these kind of mundane, ordinary things that don't look impressive, that don't look anything different than you might see looking out your own window, but because you know the story underneath, they have this huge importance. And it's a great way, I think, of using dissonance in music from what you're hearing and what you're seeing. This is my favorite score of the year so far. It really is, and that comes with a lot of competition. Bugonia is one of those movies that I know that I really liked, but I'm not going to know how much I really liked it until I rewatch it, maybe once or twice more. A lot of times when it comes to rating a movie like that, I'll hedge it a little bit. I'll say, it's really good, giving it some room for improvement, because, I don't think that I made the final determination on this film as far as, my personal feelings. But when I go back and I'm trying to determine, okay, but where would I rate it right now? The acting is great. The cinematography is great. The music is great. I really liked the story. I've thought about this movie pretty much the entire time since I came home last night from seeing it. That to me is a really, really good movie. So I'm giving Bugonia a see it now rating right now. maybe there's room for it to go down, but there also could be room for it to go up a little bit more. I don't think this is going to be a movie for everybody. That's really not a shot coming from Yorgos Lanthimos. For example, there was somebody sitting in the row ahead of me when I went to see the movie last night. It looked like they were, I don't know, probably in their 20s. And about 45 minutes in, the phone came out once, and then it came out again a couple minutes later, and then it stayed out for a few minutes. And then the person, they were there with friends, but the person just got up and walked out about an hour into the movie and didn't come back. Obviously, this movie was not for her, and that's okay. Although I would say that if you're in a movie and you decide it's not for you, don't pull out your phone and sit in your seat looking at your phone. If you don't want to watch the movie, just take your phone outside, because you're going to be doing us a favor, the people that actually are enjoying the movie, and you're not really doing yourself any favors by being on your phone during a movie. Just, go outside. Don't be an a-hole. All right, so those are my thoughts on Bugonia. What do you think, though? Is it playing near you? Are you heading to see it this weekend? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always, stay tuned right here for the latest in movie news, reviews, box office, and more. If you're going to be out tonight for Halloween, be sure to stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.